Bum ba da bum 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 bum. What is up, y'all? Philyfli Show checking in here, kicking it Right Way Production Studios. I am sitting in my squeaky chair. I am ready. I am back, baby. Let's go. Super pumped up about this card, man. Jumping in here where we've kindly the Philyfli Show has been on a vacation, man. I've been evaluating some things, evaluating the show, evaluating my life, evaluating the show, just going between some things, and I kind of just stuck to the pay-per-views right now to make sure that I did it. I won't even lie to you guys. It's just been a struggle to get my show going. I'll say I'll start it on Wednesday, and then all of a sudden it's Friday, and I just want to relax. And the couple UFC fight nights that I've missed are literally, I won't lie, it's been because I'm lazy. And I've kind of been feeling my gambling habit pretty intensely in the last couple weeks. But this is the Philyfli Show. You know what we do here. I'll give you a quick rundown. We give you odds on the fights and who we like. Quick picks. Quick rundown on who I am. I watch every single fight, dude. Like, I don't miss a fight. If there's 13 fights on the fight card, I'm watching all 13 of them. If I do miss them, typically I go back and watch them. Now, in the last couple weeks, like I said, I've kind of been on this little relaxing mode thing, trying to get things changed up. It's just been a struggle. We are an MMA show. All we talk about is UFC. But like this show, since it's on a Friday, and you guys are probably not even going to hear this before this fight, but everyone knows about the boxing fight today between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. My quick 2 cents, because everybody wants to hear it. Everybody wants to hear what I have to say. I don't give a shit about that boxing fight, guys. Yes, it's entertainment. Yes, I want to see the outcome. I'm not gonna watch the. I probably won't watch the fight. I'll probably put it up in the other, in my living room out here while I play video games once I'm done with this podcast. But it is a Friday night. It is something to watch. It is entertainment. So I'll probably peep it on. But I don't care about the fight. For one, 58-year-old Mike Tyson. Yeah, he's one of the best boxers ever. But age, man. Why do you think he's not? Why do you think he's not boxing other fighters? And if you watched his last boxing fight with Roy Jones Jr., I think it was just it was bad. And he says he didn't even train that fight. Just no, it was bad. We're not going to talk about it. And then you got Jake Paul, who's not a real boxer. Done. That's the final quote from the Philyfli Show about this dumb boxing fight. You guys want to talk some real boxing fights, like some Terrence Crawford? I do mess with Ryan Garcia, even though that dude is crazy. You want to talk some real boxing, I'll talk some real boxing with you. But I'm not the biggest boxing fan, as you can tell. And Jake Paul is not a boxer. Till he fights boxers every single time, like real boxers, not a real boxer. So we don't talk about that. But we will do a quick rundown. We're already 3 minutes in, and I still haven't even talked UFC, which is really frustrating me right now. But now we're going to UFC pay-per-view 308, the last one. Your boy had some bad night and a bad gambling night, dude. Anything I put money on live or right before the fight happened, it just ended up. It was bad. It was bad. Only 5 out of 13 fights. I think the pay-per-view of 4 was still the worst one I ever had. I only got 2 out of like 11 or 10 fights, dude. It was bad. It was a really bad time. But we're not into that. We're just letting you guys know what the Philyfli Show's been doing. If you want to check out now, you want to go against my picks now, I will tell you guys this, for some of you gamblers, whatever my main event is, you might want to go against always. Man, it's been bad. The percentage went below 30. It went below 29, and I don't even want to talk about it anymore. But the main events for me have been a struggle. And a good tailor is just as good as a bad tailor. Remember that one, guys. So, we are here to talk about UFC 309, the return of John Bones Jones, and the return of Stipe Miocic. Now, I don't think Stipe even fights again if this fight doesn't come up. Stipe was done. You could just tell. He was just a goner. It's been 4 years since we've seen Stipe. Now, Bones Jones has been putting on the weight to fight, but we got this whole Tom Aspinall. It's been a real weird thing, but I'm glad to see this finally happening. my 2 cents will be added to it, but we're not going to say that now. That's a little tease. If you haven't looked at the card of 309, for what they put together, at first when I looked at it, I was like, dude, this ain't that great of a card. But going through it, reanalyzing it as I do, it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. The main card does lack. I will say it is a very lackful main card. The first 2 fights definitely are more of like fight night main cards. So how I feel, but when you pay these guys that type of money that they are, especially a guy like Bones Jones, you kind of got to falter a little bit and get some of the young and up-and-comers coming up. Plus, we've seen a lot of these guys fight over this year. It's been a good year for the UFC. This is not the last pay-per-view of the year, but it feels like it because it's a Bones Jones fight, and it's in New York. And we are going to jump right into match like number 13 here with a female flyweight bout here. Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Mora. Now, Mora is a plus 120 underdog. Hardy negative 140 favorite. Not too big discrepancy in these odds, which means it's going to be a close fight. I see it as a close fight, but I'm going Veronica Hardy, man. She has put out some good wins over some decent prospect competition, whereas as Mora, her wins aren't as good against prospects. Most of her wins are not MMA fighters in the UFC in the female flyweight division anymore. All right, match like number 12 is a welterweight fight between Basil Hazef and Oban Elliott. Now, Oban Elliott is a treat to watch if you love MMA. His skill set's very, very high. Basil, everyone likes him, dude. I don't. I've only seen one of his fights live that I can remember, and it wasn't a very good one. Now, Basil is a plus 245 underdog, whereas Oban's a negative 310 favorite. Welterweight bout. Oh, man, it was a hard pick, even though the odds are on the other side. 2 sides of each other. Oban Elliott, for me, his skill set's just going to be too much, I think, for Basil. I might have just told you guys it's negative 310. Sorry, on my sheet it's negative 300. It's gone down already, gone up to negative 310 already. Hey, things like that happen, but we're going to pick a winner here. Oban Elliott, like I said, gets the win. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised after the fight. All right, match like number 11. Here's another welterweight fight. Mickey Gall versus Ramiz Brahmahai. Now, Gall's a negative 140 favorite, whereas Ramiz is a plus 120 underdog. Now, I think Mickey Gall's got some good grappling skill, but just something about his game that throws me off where I'm like, I just don't see him being more successful in the UFC. Ramirez, though, his skill set for me is just I like it. He's decent fighter there. I think he gets the best of Mickey Gall because I think he can grapple enough to stop Mickey from going for takedowns and submissions. But that striking of Ramirez is where Mickey Gall's going to have a very tough time with. So picking Ramirez with a 3 out of 5 confidence level, he gets his hand raised after the fight. All right, heavyweight bout here. Match like number 10, Marcin Tybura versus Renato Diniz. Now, Renato, or Honata, sorry, I'm saying his name completely wrong because of the way I have it written down here. Honata was supposed to fight Derek Lewis like 2 weeks ago, and it just didn't come to fruition. Derek Lewis had to drop out of the fight. He still got an opponent. They gave him Marcin Tybura. Tybura is a negative 150 favorite, whereas Diniz is a plus 125 underdog. Look, heavyweight bout. Every time I pick up against Tybura, he seems to edge out the competition that I go against him with. Now, he is getting up there in the age. He hasn't looked very good. He did not look very good in his last fight in Tybura. And Diniz is making his UFC debut. I think Diniz keeps his undefeated record, and I think he gets his hand raised after the fight. It's even stuff I put money on because he is a plus 125 underdog. There's a decent odds to throw on some parlays. Let's get it, boys and girls. Let's go. All right, match like number 9 is a lightweight division bout between David Onama and Roberto Romero. Roberto is a plus 750 underdog. David Onama, biggest favorite on the card. Well, tied for the biggest favorite on the card at negative $1,500. You have to put $1,500 just to win $100 off this fight if you're picking Onama. And I'm telling you right now, I wanted to put a 5 on this. Dude cannot take on... Roberto is taking on some stiff competition. I almost said he cannot. No, he can. It's just not going to be a very good night for him because David Onama is getting his hand raised after this fight. 4 out of 5 on the confidence level that David gets his hand raised. All right, we're getting into match like number 8. Is another lightweight fight. We get Jim Flippin' Miller versus Damon Jackson. Jim is a plus 145 underdog, whereas Damon's a negative 175 favorite. This fight, Damon didn't come out good on his last fight. Same thing with Jim Miller. Jim Miller, man, I love the guy, but I think age is finally there. I think Father Time has finally called for Jim Miller because it's just not gonna look pretty. I think Damon Jackson gets a big win here. I am not super confident on it because of the fact that Jim Miller is a veteran dog and he can get it done. But if we're going by his last fight, it just didn't. It looked like the wheels slipped out from under him, and I'm gonna go with Damon Jackson here. 1 out of 5 though, only on the confidence level that he gets his hand raised. Match like number 7 is a middleweight bout that threw me through a loop. I've been doing these rankings here. I forgot to tell you Marcin Tybura's ranking, but for him to be in the ranking system is just a little flawed to me. But this one threw me off. It's a middleweight fight between Chris Weidman and Eric Anders. Now, I don't think Eric... I knew from the start before I looked at it that Eric was not ranked because he kind of floats between 2 different weight classes depending if he takes short notice fights. But Chris Weidman, I for sure thought he had a rank 15. Like, number 15... if he was 13, 14, or 15, I'm not arguing anything, but... Then when I went and looked at the middleweight division, it kind of made sense why he wasn't there, but it also doesn't. And then I had to go remember that he was out for so long. Like, I thought he's had 3 fights since he broke his leg. No, he's only had 1. He's had 1 fight since he broke his leg. 1 fight since back. It's time to get him back in the ring and see what he can do. Now he does obviously get the fight on Saturday. Chris Weidman's a plus 100 underdog, whereas Eric Anders is a negative 120 favorite. Chris... I am rooting for him. I am really, really rooting for him. But Eric Anders is strong. He can grapple enough and has enough grappling defense, I think, to throw off Weidman's game. And the striking is where it's going to be ugly. Weidman did not look that good in the striking department his last fight. We got to hope he comes back from that and is able to throw more strikes. But I think it's going to be a bad night for him. I really think Eric Anders gets the finish. I really think Eric just puts it on him. I don't think it's going to be grappling. It could have grappling, but I just think Eric on the feet is going to be too much for good old Chris Weidman. 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that he gets his hand raised. All right, y'all. I am afraid my computer is about to crash right now. I did some updates on it before I did this, and it's just not running very smoothly, it seems like. So if this gets a little wonky toward the end and I gotta reclip some things together, I'm sorry. But we are finally to our featured prelim bout of the night. We only had 1 female fight so far, which I thought there was more, but there's more upcoming, but I thought there was more on this card, period. So the feature prelim bout is a bantamweight bout. We have a ranked opponent here, and this is a do-not-miss fight. Now, it is Marcus McGee versus Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan took a bad L against Jose Aldo. It wasn't completely short notice, but it was one of those, not a full camp, I didn't feel like. And Jonathan just didn't look like the Jonathan that we're used to with the leg kicks and the way he put striking together. And it just was ugly. I feel like he was starstruck with the whole Jose Aldo fight. I don't know what it was. It didn't make any sense. Was there an injury we didn't know about? Could have been, but it was bad. Now, Jonathan is facing Marcus McGee. Marcus McGee is an up-and-coming prospect. He is a little on the old side for a prospect. He is 34 years old, but he's only had 3 UFC fights, and all 3 of his UFC fights have been phenomenal. He's a great up-and-coming prospect. I just think Jonathan Martinez, if his game is on, if we see the old Jonathan Martinez, not the last fight with the Jose Aldo fight, Martinez, it's going to be a bad night for McGee. But it's going to be a phenomenal fight for us to watch, because even if it's the other Jonathan Martinez that showed up, then you're going to see McGee just light that sucker up. So, good fight. Don't miss it. Martinez plus 115 underdog. Marcus McGee, negative 140 favorite. Jonathan Martinez, the 13th ranked bantamweight. Marcus is going for that ranking, but I think Jonathan will be too much for him. 1 out of 5 on the confidence level that Jonathan gets his hand raised. All right, y'all. Podcast going a little long here. We're going to kind of speed it up, and I'm going to run through the main card a little fast here. So, match like number 5, we got Mauricio Huffy versus James Lantop. Now, Mauricio is a negative 950 favorite. Big favorite over James. It's a catchweight fight. You know, I want to see Mauricio Huffy fight, but I wish they would have picked a different guy for him to face off. I don't like this fight. I think Huffy just pounds him out. 4 out of 5 on the confidence level. He gets his hand raised. Now, finally we get a female fight. Another one. Match like number 4 is a flyweight division female fight between Vivian Argero and Corrine Silva. Awesome striking fight. Now, Vivian has not looked that good lately, and I want to see her step on that gas and put the striking together. Corrine, she has looked phenomenal for a prospect. We get the number 9 flyweight versus number 11. Corrine's number 11, Vivian number 9. Vivian plus 220 underdog, Corrine negative 280 favorite. I am going Corrine with a big W, and if Vivian loses, she could be out the UFC. I could seriously see them letting her go because she has not put on performances that well. So, when we go with Corrine, it's a 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. She gets her hand raised. It's going to be a good fight. Don't miss this fight, guys. The next fight has some animosity. It always looks like if you watch the weigh-ins, but Paul Craig does it every fight. So we get a middleweight fight between Bo Nickel, Paul Craig. I've been kind of waiting for it. To be honest with you, I want to see this big step up in competition. Paul Craig, former ranked light heavyweight or middleweight. I don't remember which one he was ranked in off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look. But he was ranked. He's not ranked anymore because he's took some losses to some dudes. But he's got some good wins on his belt, man. He's got a win over Hill, and I think he's got a win over Ankalaev, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a plus 750 underdog. Bo Nickel's the other biggest favorite of the night with negative 1,500. But again, that's going to be a better fight for Bo Nickel than any of his last fights. Fighting a guy who's good on his back, a guy who can submit you, and a guy who can stand up and strike when needed. It hasn't looked good as of late for Paul Craig with the striking, but I think he could get it done if he surprises, Bo. But that Bo wrestling, man, we're gonna see a show. We're gonna see if he's actually got it. He gets this big win and dominates in the wrestling department. It's going to be a scary fight in the future, whoever's got to fight Bo Nickel in the middleweight division. And I want to say it's my favorite fight of the night, but I really like that main card too. Only reason this is my favorite fight of the night is because there's a fighter that's fighting that's my favorite, like all-time favorite. Like if I went somewhere and they're selling a 9-something card of his, I'd buy it in a second. And then there's a fighter I just absolutely despise. Not a big fan of his. It's not. I don't know. I think it's his persona. There's a lot of things I could name off why I don't like him, but you guys already know what type of house this is. This is Charles Du Bronx, baby, Oliveira house here. Been watching Oliveira since he was a featherweight, man. So it's a big fight for me versus the guy I cannot stand, Michael Flippin Chandler. Now, Michael is the 7th ranked lightweight in the world versus number 2, and it has now been dubbed a title eliminator fight, so I don't know how that's going to play out. Dana did say Armin's next, so I'm wondering if this is the guy who lines up next after the Armin Islam fight. So if we even get that, sounds like we might not get that now. But yeah, Charles Du Bronx, negative 265, plus 215 on Michael. Michael's issue is when he rocks dudes, he goes for a takedown. Charles issue is he starts slow and he takes shots. Not a good time. These two have already fought, and Charles took a shot right in the beginning from him in the first fight, got dropped, thought it was going to get finished really quick. Didn't happen. Came back, won the fight, beat down Mike. We finally get to see the rematch. This time it's only a 3-round fight. Actually, it could be 5. It could be 5. I'm pretty sure it's 3, but could be 5 if I didn't pay attention that well. But Charles Do Bronx, baby, gets the W again. And we will see him fight for the title again. That's my guy. Don't let him. Just put some money on my guy. Put it on him. Put it on him. All right. And now we are here for the champion. Heavyweight championship, John Bones Jones versus Stipe Miocic. John Bones Jones, -725 favorite. Miocic +450. On paper, people are going to say this fight's not close. The only reason I don't think this fight is close, I think Bones Jones has a pure domination fight, is because of the layoff by Stipe. If Stipe was still fighting people once a year from these 4 years, I would say this is a close fight. But this is old Stipe. Don't know if he's going to come back from that knockout from Francis. And we've seen Bones Jones just destroy Ciryl Gane, who is a good heavyweight, for a title. Yeah, I just think this fight is a little closer. If it stays on their feet somehow, Bones Jones did not look good striking on his feet against Ciryl, but grappling, phenomenal, just like always. If Stipe can grapple him or defend the takedowns right away, and it stays on the feet, that's where this fight gets close. Just because we haven't seen Bones Jones strike at heavyweight yet. That's why I think that fight could be close. But, like I said right in the beginning, Stipe's been off for 4 years. I am going with the guy who's been more active, and I'm going to go with Bones Jones. I'm honestly going to go with Bones Jones finish somehow. Whether you pick submission or you just pick that doesn't go the distance. That's what I'm picking, but Bones Jones with his hand raised. 3 out of 5 on the confidence level. Now, if you know my past with these main cards, that's a death stick I just handed fucking Bones Jones. Oops, I just swore. My bad, guys. I don't like to swear on my podcast, but my bad, guys. But yeah, that's the card. Philyfli Show is going to have a great week since we've had some bad last couple pay-per-views, so we're going to turn it up, turn it down. No parlays for you this week. Pick with the single picks, and you know what? Shout out to Right Way Production Studios for always making this happen. And you know what else, guys? See y'all in the next event. I'm not going to say I'm going to be here for fight night, but I could be. I could get back into it. As long as things don't pop up, y'all. All right. I do think we have some time off from UFC, though. Actually, before I get off, just want to see if I'd even see it. I could potentially see you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Peace the bleep out.